Happy Palm Sunday, everybody. It's overcast and rainy, but we had some great food that my mom made, and now I'm trying to figure out what I feel like doing this afternoon, and I don't feel like going into my art studio downstairs because it's kind of gloomy and dark, so I wanted to do something up here with the family, but that means that bringing paints up here is kind of tricky because things get messy. Anyway, so I have this art project that actually one of my art courses assigned to us this week. And it's basically taking a lot of pieces of paper. You can cut them from magazines if you like, or you can have like leftover, so that's like a palette, a paint palette that I've used. And I have different ones, or there's one really neat trick that you can do. This is a paper towel, and if you make a mixture of like 50% like Elmer's glue and water, and then you dip the paper towel in it, and it comes out, it feels like fabric, so it changes the texture of the paper towel. It almost feels like a fabric. And these are actually used paper towels. I just use the paper towel to clean my brushes, and then instead of throwing them away, I turn them into these little cool little pieces of paper that feel like fabric almost. Anyway, so I keep these because they're great little pieces of collage, like another palette that I wasn't going to throw away because it might be useful. You get the idea, right? So here I have, I'll show you a big one. So this is a big palette that I use that I'm not going to throw away. And by the way, these are deli papers, which are really thin and light and inexpensive. So these are great to work with. You don't have to use deli papers. You can, use a thicker paper. That's fine too. I have some other ones. This was done with a gel pad. I think it's called a gel pad. So it's basically a gel pad that you put paint on, and then so the white parts that you see are actually elastics that I just placed on there. And then when I put this piece of paper on top of it, it actually picked up the paint and left the areas where the elastic were and made them just circles. So I like to do that on these deli papers because I know that eventually I might be using them in a collage. So these are great ways when you have a rainy day and you don't really feel like creating a piece of art or a painting. You can just do a lot of these deli papers and collage papers that you can use at another time. Look how pretty that one is. I mean, right there, that's a painting. Really, that's great. Okay, so you get the idea. So I have a bunch of these. Here's another example. So this is the same idea. This is the paper towel that I used to clean my brushes on. So it was a dirty paper towel or used paper towel. And then I applied that mixture of Elmer's glue and water, and I turned it into this kind of tough paper. But the interesting thing is this here, these are actually pieces of actual paint that I pulled off of my palette, off of my desk. So when I'm painting in my art studio, I actually have a palette on my desk that covers the whole desk, and it's more like a thick plastic like that. And so when the paint dries on it, I don't throw it away. I mean, sometimes I do, but I actually save the pieces, and they can add, interesting colors and textures to my collage. So what we're doing today is, if you don't paint and you don't have these little loose pieces of paper available to you, you can make them yourself on just any kind of paper. So here's like some marks that over time I've made and I've saved. Here's another deli paper with some marks. Here's another deli paper with some scribbles. The lighting, there we go. Here's another type of mark. So this is me just practicing my mark making. over time, and I just keep the papers because I know that eventually I'll add them to some kind of collage for painting. And you can do paintings that incorporate collage. So that's another thing you can do on any kind of paper that you have at home. It doesn't matter. And I know that, you know, some of you might not have, you know, canvases or board to actually do the piece of artwork on. But these days we have a lot of paper bags, or you can even cut, you know, cardboard from boxes that you've received deliveries in. You can do that. But this works really well. And you don't even have to like cut it or anything. You can if you want to, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. Because once it's finished and you frame it, you can't tell. You can't tell what that is. So, you can get a nice paper bag. And then the idea is to give yourself, once you have all your pieces that you're gonna work with, right? Whether you create them or whether you tear out pages from a magazine and you tear little pieces of paper, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that once you have those items, that you give yourself about 5 minutes to do this, this exercise, okay? So that's what we're gonna do today. And I've already done one, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and so I wanted to do one on a smaller scale with things that you might have available to you. So, okay, so roughly 5 minutes. We're about 7-minute timeline right now, so okay. So I'm gonna start working on it, and you can watch and see what you think. Okay, maybe I'll strip that one out. There. And I like this one. This is pretty, like that. Maybe I'll put that there. And so what we're looking for when we're doing these things, and it does seem a little haphazard, and you know, it doesn't really seem like art, I guess, but what I'm looking for is, you know, colors that go well together. I'm also looking for good composition, and so you can do that with anything. It doesn't have to be a tree or a piece of furniture or a rock. You know, it doesn't have to be a thing. You can actually look at the shapes on your page and look at the color intensity and all of that, and you try to incorporate all of those skills that you've learned in art class, and you try to make it work. And so that's what this assignment was all about, was to help us with that kind of thing. And I just thought it was so much fun that I thought it would be neat for you to try as well. And so I'm a little distracted because I'm talking to you as I go, and makes it a little bit more challenging. So let's see. And the nice thing about this is there's no right or wrong. You just try it. And that's why we limit ourselves to 5 minutes or so, because we want to see. It's not too bad. Okay. And the nice thing about the deli papers is that they're pretty easy to tear, and they rip nicely. And when you layer things, it creates more interest in the piece, you know. And if you have like a variety of textures and things, that's a little bit more interesting. It's tricky because when you're not gluing them down, it does kind of shift a little bit, but then again, it also gives you the versatility of changing things up. That. Okay. I like there's this purple little area here that I want to leave it open. Let's see, what else do we have? It's tricky not to let them keep sliding off. Okay, so I think for now, for this one, I think we're good. I went over a little bit on time, but that's okay. There's no hard rules, but the idea is to try to time yourself. So actually what I might do is add a little bit of something that kind of looks like script. I feel like it's missing a little something. We'll see. So the nice thing is you can take a picture of it and you have your permanent art piece, and I'll show you what it looks like up close. Let's see if I can see what I'm doing and show you at the same time. So there's the shot. Okay. Is that better? So that's the idea. So then you take a picture, and you have your art piece. Put that back on there. And you can keep playing. So you take a picture, you have a permanent art piece, and then you can take this all off and do it again and see if you can come up with something better. And this way you don't have the mess of using paints. And you can just be creative and free, right? Because you're only limiting yourself to a short period of time, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, you decide. And you feel like you're being resourceful, right? So in this time of spring where we're thinking rebirth and renewal, you want to kind of make things from something else and create something beautiful, right? And on a rainy day, especially if you have kids and they're bored and they don't know what to do, this might be a fun activity to see what they can come up with. So have fun. I enjoyed it.